Well, we are live. Keeps freezing for you, Nutty. That's because you're on wireless. And we got a lot going on, probably. Just making sure everything's still working over here. We're good. All right, there we go. So, obviously, we are here this Sunday to start session 0 of our Paradigm 2 Shadows Embrace campaign. That in music is really loud. I'll just turn it down a little bit. Being able to 24-month resub in the starting moments of the session there. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So here we are at the start of session 0. Tonight we're just going to go through house rules. We're going to go through rolling stats. We're going to roll HP. We're going to just have a general discussion about the campaign and where everyone's at as far as characters that are concerned. Obviously, we have Baz in the call as well, who will not be starting the campaign with us. His character will be joining us at a later date, and we have another mystery player off in the background somewhere. Hopefully, they are here as well, so they can roll their stats in the background with us. They will also be starting at a much later date at some point. We will have our NPC players around somewhere as well. Nutty, Magic, and a couple other people will be coming in to do some NPC stuff for us as well. And should be a bit of fun. So that'll be starting next week. 8 o'clock start, mainly because Trash doesn't get home till about 5:30 most nights with his milking. So we're going to be starting at 8 o'clock New Zealand Standard Time to accommodate for Mr. Trashman. And we should be good. Yo, JJ, what's up? It's all good, man. It's all good. So I suppose to get started, before we roll stats, we'll go over some of the rule stuff. We'll do stats a little bit later. Give some other people a chance to sort of get in. Hopefully our other player is around to roll stats. I will probably send him a DM a little later anyway. So firstly, I guess we'll get some of these rules that I want to have in the campaign, which is pretty much the same as what we have for campaign 1. Death saves. We've got 2 options here. I can roll the death saves for you in private, or you can roll your own death saves still and DM them to me either via Discord or via Guilded, whichever's easiest for you. Or you can DM them via Foundry as well, as we're able to send private messages there. So I guess it's up to you guys. We'll go around and just get some feelings on the death save situation. So Trashman, would you prefer you to roll death saves and to DM them to me, or would you prefer that the DM rolls your death saves? DM? Grim?
DM.
I prefer we roll them, if only because it's as someone who's been a DM, there's a lot of shit you got to do. You don't need extra shit.
Exactly. I tend to agree there. Mina?
I'm kind of with Grim. I prefer to roll them myself, because at least that way I know, alright, fine, I'm gone. And that way I can actually process it without you feeling it like someone having to tell you bad news.
I like that idea. That's a good one. Drax. Drax's head at the bottom of the screen.
I don't mind either way.
Don't mind either way. And Mr. Stube?
I'd rather roll them myself, personally.
Awesome. And Mr. Baz?
Yeah, I'm with the group. I'd rather roll them myself. Main reason being is because it's a role-playing game, and the funnest thing about role-playing games
is rolling dice.
and
Exactly.
watching them fail.
Awesome. So there we have. There is our first decision made of the night. Our house rule will be that death saves will be rolled by the players. They will be kept secret, however, and they'll be DM'd to myself, so that I'm aware of what's going on. So that means, because we're using D&D Beyond, our character sheet said, do not mark them on your character sheet either. Mark them down on a piece of paper, or just keep track of them through the private message. And as I said, you can I will have Discord and Guilded open any given time, so your option, depending on where you want to go there. Even though I'm shutting my Discord server down, I'm not leaving Discord. I still am a part of a lot of Discord servers, which I will continue to be. I'm switching my server over to Guilded. I think it has more things to offer me specifically and what I want to do. So that's the reason I'm moving over there. So next on the agenda is potions. We had a brief discussion about this just before we started. So health potions. In campaign 1, we made a collective decision that we would be utilizing potions as a bonus action, and that they would always have a maximum effect. While this worked and it was pretty cool, I'm taking this campaign probably back a little bit more closer to the rule, not so much the rules per se, but just making it a little bit more interesting and a little bit more intense on certain situations. So we'll be back to rolling our potions. So obviously regular potions, 2d4 plus 2, and so on and so forth. But potions will be used as an action as intended in 5e. So it will cost you an action to use a potion. It'll cost you an action to give a potion, even if it is located on your equipment belt. It'll still cost you an action to use. Anyone else have any other feelings on that before we move any forward? I think we had a bit of a discussion before. Everyone seemed okay with it, so we're all in agreement on that one for the most part. Cool. I'll roll for them all. You're rolling for... so Nutty reckons she's going to roll health pots for everybody. So, okay, Nutty, that's your job. You're going to roll health pots for everyone. Sadiq says no, so you're screwed. Right, so wild magic. We have had a little bit of discussion previous leading up to this campaign that wild magic is an effect in Paradigm 2. Yes, Magic the Gamer, you're wild. Well, you're a wild, hairy man. So wild magic is an effect. We're utilizing Baz's wild magic table from Sanctum 1. So that will provide something slightly different than the regular wild magic table. Now, the way the wild magic will work in this particular realm, because of what is happening in Paradigm, because of the events of Campaign 1, there is what I'm calling arcane anomalies that are popping up randomly across the realm. No one knows when they're going to open or when they're going to close. No one can really see them. Those that are proficient in the arcane are able to feel them if they're in close proximity. It will not affect cantrips unless you're standing right on top of an arcane anomaly. So this will be determined by a couple of dice rolls that I'll be making whenever you're in a specific area. When you move to an area within the map, I'll make a couple of dice rolls to determine how close you are to an anomaly, and to determine if there is one, and then how close you are to it. What will happen then is, if you are not close enough, it won't affect your cantrips, it won't affect your first level spells, but it may affect your second, third, and higher. It's all about proximation. If you are standing on top of an arcane anomaly, all magical abilities will be affected, including cantrips. So that means any armor that has a magical effect on it, not on +1s, as an example, a +1 armor, that's just a regular, it's a magical item, but it doesn't have a magical effect on it. You might have a sword that does extra radiant damage. That extra radiant damage or extra necrotic damage or whatever is triggered by an attack, that will cause an arcane effect based on the wild table. So again, it's all very contextual, all based on a dice roll, which makes it very random. in the beginnings of the campaign, it may not happen as much because these effects have only just started to become commonplace. As the course of the campaign progresses, they may become more frequent, depending on what you guys do as players and how the main story goes. My God, that was loud. Any questions based on that before we move forward? Anything you guys want to know in regards to that that's not clear?
I think it's clear, but more of a confirmation. Your arcane focus or your arcane symbol or whatever, you should not be affected by that unless
your
you're actually
focus.
casting it.
Yeah, your focus is just your focus for casting, so it'll affect the spell, not the focus.
Cool.
Any other questions?
I think we touched on it with my character. Will that affect mine?
Your ability is not inherently magic. It is because it's psionic. It is slightly different.
All right. No, that's cool.
At the later stages, it may have an effect based on, again, proximity. It would depend on how close you are, and your effect will be slightly different. I don't think I'll be rolling on the wild magic table specifically for you, but it may play havoc with what Uth is able to do at any specific time, potentially.
Cool.
Anyone else? Nope, we're good. Sweet, moving on. Getting through this a lot quicker than I thought we would. Awesome. Backstories. So everyone's got their backstories, which is awesome. I've had some discussions with some players about their backstories. As far as the backstory is concerned, if anything happens character development wise, if we are playing through and you think of something that might be cool for your character as an example, or something that works for your character's backstory, hit me up. We can add bits in and take bits out as we go. You might just decide something might come to you during a course of an interaction with someone else that just may seem cool. As long as it fits with your backstory, I'm happy to add it in and flesh it out, as long as it makes sense. Apart from that, your backstories are all pretty cool. I've discussed most of your backstories with everyone. We're all pretty set to go. Everything's pretty straightforward. What it comes down to is just character development. As you progress through the story, things may change for you. You might think of something that makes more sense, and in which case just let me know and we'll work with it. Same thing with homebrew. This is a homebrew setting. It is a homebrew campaign. This means homebrew spells are allowed with DM approval. Once again, if you come up with a homebrew spell or a homebrew item, hit me up. We'll discuss it. We'll work out any kinks and anything that needs to be discussed. We'll add it in. I can create most things on D&D Beyond if you can't do it yourself, so definitely let me know. If you're able to do it yourself, then cool. Once it's approved, we'll add it in and we're good to go. So just bear that in mind, that homebrew is definitely okay, with discussion with the DM, obviously. As is multi-classing. Multi-classing is definitely a thing. We had triple multi-classing in our previous campaign, with campaign 1. So if you are wanting to multi-class, 100% jump into it. But the caveat here is you must be able to RP it to make it make sense for the story. If it doesn't make sense for the story and you can't really think of a way to RP it, then it may not work at all. So just bear that in mind. I would prefer that it's RP'd. Unless, obviously, you're already starting with a multi-class, which I think Sadiq's character is. But again, we've already talked about that, and it kind of makes sense for his character anyway. So no need to RP that because it's already been done. Any questions surrounding homebrew or multi-classing before we move on? No, good.
Other than yay.
Again, to me, homebrew is where I started with campaign 1, so it'd be kind of silly not to continue with the homebrew theory going into campaign 2. Kind of makes sense. And the multi-class, I love multi-classing, so I'm always going to allow it. It's just one of those things. Okay, before we move any further with me rambling on, anything that you guys want to discuss as players, rules wise, or again anything around surrounding the homebrew stuff? Anything that you guys think that would be kind of cool to bring to this campaign?
Yeah. The whole Ray Bear and doing it in Yanti's campaign, the rolling of d20s to get max, be able to use max, like if you get a crit, it's maximum health. Can we possibly do that maybe with the potions, since you've taken that it's full health on potions?
So I think I remember this from Robear's campaign. So what you're saying is you, instead of rolling the 2d4 plus, or you roll your 2d4 plus 2
and a d20, and if you get a natural 20, it's max health regardless.
Yeah, that could work. I mean,
you'd have to remember to do it, and
well, that's the thing.
You forget to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that would, if everyone was in agreement, I don't have a problem with it, but I wouldn't be reminding anyone to do it. If that was something you'd have to do on your own back, if you didn't do it, then obviously that's your loss. But I mean, I don't have an issue with it. Anyone else have any feelings on that before we move forward?
I'm unsure of this rule. So you if you're rolling your potion, you're
rolling a d20 as well.
And if you get a 20, so it's like a critical hit with a potion.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're rolling a d20. You have to get a d20.
The chances of rolling a 20 are pretty slim, but if you get a 20, you get the maximum effect of it. That's actually a cool idea.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I think it's different. I think Robear does it, and you said Yanti started doing it as well. So, I mean, I'm okay with it.
She mainly does it with when you're casting spells. It's basically it basically gives the ability for the spellcaster to get a critical hit. That's the idea behind it.
Does he do it for potions too?
No, it was all healing. Like
just healing spells.
Yeah, I was thinking more for
Yeah.
potions of health than anything else. That's why I asked.
Okay, so it's just heal. Okay, so you're talking. It's more of a spell based thing. I mean, we could do it on the potions easily enough. I don't know that I like the idea of it on spells, because some of those spells have some massive damage.
Yeah.
Some of your high level
damage.
spells have some huge damage. And on a crit,
just
you're
healing spells.
just healing spells.
Yeah, it's
okay.
just healing. It's basically like
I can see it working on a healing spell. I mean,
yeah, the idea is just to make the healers feel like they're actually getting to contribute something instead of just you get 3 hit points.
Yeah, I mean, I see how that can be a cool thing, because I mean, God knows we've had plenty of low heals in our campaigns over the years.
And I was just wondering if perhaps we could extend it to like healing potions if you're going to have it. Since you're using an action anyway with it, and it's no longer a bonus action, it would be a good way to kind of give you
as long as it doesn't slow things down. I mean, I don't have an issue with it really. I mean, I'm happy to say as a DM looking at lists, I can say all healing abilities, healing potions, healing spells. Roll a d20. If you get a natural 20, then you get a max heal out of it. As you say, the chance of getting a natural 20, I mean, it's not none, but it's low. What do you reckon, Brad?
I guess it works evenly with what you're doing with all the other spells and attacks, right? If you get a natural 20, you're going with maximum.
Generally, yeah.
So in reality, if you look at it the other way around, it's like we haven't been doing it yet. We've been using it for everything else. So
more or less, yeah.
And when you think about it, it works both ways.
100%, yeah. It works for if it works for the players, it works for the DM. So
if a sorcerer casts a fireball and gets a natural 20 on that 20, it's maximum damage of the fireball, whether it be us against them or them against us. So be it. You know, if it wipes the party out, it wipes the party out. But at the same time, you could also say that natural 20 is because of the wild magic. The wild magic has amplified the spell to the point of its maximum damage.
Yeah, I mean, that it's easy enough to put that into context. Yeah, so
But
I'm
we're
okay.
saying we're just going to use it in the healing part of things, right?
Yeah, for that particular thing, it'll be just for healing. So for the potions and healing spells, we'll add the D20 roll to it. On a natural 20, you get maximum healing. So I'm more than happy to put that in.
We'll have to remember at the beginning of the campaign,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I'll make a note of it. I'll add it to my notepad so that I remember, because I'll forget. Do we D20 roll on healing spells and potions? Nat 20 equals max heal. Too easy. I shall remember this. As far, again, now we're talking about criticals. We will be using the same rule as we have in the past. On a natural 20 on an attack, whether it's a melee attack or a spell attack, there will be maximum damage. So for weapons, you maximize the weapon damage. So the dice you would normally roll to roll your weapon, you maximize that. You then roll that dice again to add damage to that. So you roll that damage die again and add your modifiers. Your modifiers do not get maximized. It's just the weapon dice itself. So I think, as an example, a longsword, I think two-handed is a D10. If you got a critical strike on a longsword with using two-handed, you would automatically get 10 damage. You would then roll that D10 and then add your modifiers, and that would be your damage for that weapon. Same thing with
spells. Are just max dice.
It's just max dice. So the spell, you don't re-roll the dice. So as a firebolt, as an example, if you were to cast a firebolt or any roll to hit spell, this is not on spells that require a save. These are on roll to hit spells. If you get a natural 20 on a roll to hit spell, whatever your natural dice is that you would roll for damage on that spell would be just the max damage. So if you rolled, say, 3d6 for a spell, your max damage would be 18. You would not have to roll that damage. It would just automatically maximize the damage. Again, it gives the spellcasters a actual critical, because previously I don't think a spellcaster on a natural 20 gets the damage dice maximized and shit like that. So
they just get to roll and that's it.
Yeah.
I think it's double dice though.
It can be double dice, but the thing is with the reason I don't like double dice is you can still roll really low on double dice. I mean, I've seen people roll nat 2 1s.
Beyond automatically puts that double dice in when you get a crit,
And,
unfortunately.
so the thing is with that, because D&D Beyond automatically does that, what we will then do is, if you do get a critical, don't roll the damage through D&D Beyond, roll it on your custom dice. It means a little bit of math, or you're rolling natural dice. I don't, once we get in game, I don't mind whether people are rolling natural dice or digital dice. It's purely up to you. I've only asked people to roll digital dice tonight because it'd be kind of cool to see, let the viewers see you guys roll your stats up on the screen. So that's the reason for that. And
if everyone uses the same format, it's fair.
Yeah, that too. And I just remembered I don't have my screen up there after all this, so people can't actually see anything right now.
I have a question, DM.
Sure, fire away.
Well, goes to all the players too, I guess. So we're talking about criticals, and I know the reason why we don't double the dice and spells, because when you hit like a bloody fireball level 3, it was 86. You're trying to double, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's not a hit spell though. Yeah, that's the thing.
So this is where my questions come in. So when you have a spell that isn't a hit, when it's a save, is there any way, and I guess because these are big anyway, but is there any way they can crit fail or crit hit?
I have been thinking about that, and what I've been thinking about for that particular instance is I was looking at the save issues. So let's say, as an example, you rolled a fireball, 3rd level fireball, which is 86 normally, and the creature saves, rolls a natural 1. I would say that creature takes maximum damage.
Yeah, so that's how I play it, as you know, in my home campaign. That's why I'm asking. Yeah.
Which is I'm kind of glad you brought it up, because that's pretty much.
And on the vice versa, if the creature rolls a
natural 20, they generally take no damage.
Yeah, it's like a crit miss.
Yeah, so that works both ways as well. So that works for monsters and players. So if you roll a natural 20, during a dexterity save, as an example, on a fireball or any other type of spell that requires a dex save, then you would take no damage. You would be, for all intents and purposes, your dexterity was that good that you were able to dodge or roll out of the way and take no damage. Again, on the other hand, if you roll a natural 1, you stumble and fall and take full damage, which would be the full damage of the spell. So essentially it creates a critical on a natural 1 for failing that roll.
Yeah, so what are the other guys' thoughts on that?
Sadiq looks confused.
I like it.
No,
think it's good.
I don't mind it. I just think that it turns evasion into a superfluous ability doing it that way, because evasion will give you, if you pass it, you get nothing anyway.
We don't have a rogue in the group.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. It's
only if you roll if your dex save was a nat 20 though. If a rogue or someone with evasion skill would still be able to utilize that at any.
Because all they've got to do is save the roll, and they still get evasion. So it doesn't make it superfluous. It just means that you just happen to be really good at that moment on a natural 20. Because all a rogue's got to do, or someone with the evasion feat, all they've got to do is succeed to not take damage. So if the DC's 12 and they roll a 12, they take no damage. Whereas you, as an example, as someone your size, you'd have to roll a natural 20 to take no damage. So it doesn't take away from the rogue's ability to not take damage on a successful dex save. I don't think, anyway.
It seems just Mr. Sadiq, just so you well, Jesus, what are we calling you there, Mr. Stub?
It's confusing.
Yeah,
I've known him as Sadiq really for so long.
I do use it in my home campaign, and it's very rare that anyone rolls a natural 1 or a natural 20 on a save, be it the monsters or the heroes. It's not as often as you might think. But yeah, we've got a couple of rogues, and I don't think it's ever come up as, oh, hey, this destroys my ability. It's the only reason I bring it up here. But if it doesn't work, and you guys are happy to delete it,
it's something fine. We can try, and if it doesn't work, we can always take it out. I mean, this is where D&D is a cool thing. It is something that we just play around with. I mean, if it seems like it's either underpowered or overpowered or just doesn't seem to sit right, then we can always take it out. Jax, what are your feelings as a new player? What do you reckon? You've been very quiet down there.
I just wing it when I come to it.
That's your answer to everything. I was going to wing it. I'm going to wing it, dude. Trash, as a former rogue player.
What Greg said.
You son of a bitch. I knew that was coming. So, I mean, as long as the bulk of you are happy to try that, we can give it a go and sort of see how we go.
Because it's really hard to get a critical for yourself when you actually got dex saves. And if that's all you've got, at least then you've got a chance, even though it's not massive.
I sort of look at it from this perspective. As much as some of these save spells can potentially have extremely high damage, especially at the higher levels, you can still roll low, and if someone rolls a natural 1, we can go, here we go. We can go one of two ways on this. If you roll a natural 1, because normally if you fail a save, you take full damage.
You take half damage.
Well, if you succeed a save, you take half damage.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, and if you fail a save, you take full damage. We can either add dice to it, or we can just maximize the damage of the level of the spell. I mean, the natural 20 thing, we can take quarter damage if you really want to go down that far, and that way the evasion thing doesn't enter into it, because the only person that doesn't take damage is the rogue with evasion, or anyone with the evasion thing. So if you make a natural 20, you take half of half instead of not taking any. But then it becomes, to me, it just becomes a little more complicated than it needs to be.
I reckon if we give the full damage and the no damage a go, and if we feel like it's kind of taking away, we try the quarter damage, and if that doesn't work, then we take it away altogether.
I mean, the thing is with this, I don't honestly see this particular situation coming up often. Not until the higher levels anyway, because at lower levels you're not going to have those types of spells that are going to cause that huge amounts of damage off the bat anyway.
The main reason I put it into my campaign, and this is for the other players out there too, and other DMs if you've struck this, the main reason I put it into my home campaign is because you get fighters, anyone who melee fights, rogues, barbarians, always maximize on a 20, always miss on a 1. When you're a caster, and this is why I play casters all the time, and I feel this is unfair. When you're a caster, I take a caster and I go, man, if I just take everything that makes saves, I never miss, because I always either get full damage or they always get hit with half damage. However, I can never crit either, because, and that's the main reason I threw it into my campaign, to even it out, so that they can miss with AoE spells as well as crit.
And the way I look at that is it doesn't offer any advantage or disadvantage to the spellcasters either, because it works on the same premise as a natural 1, natural 20 for everything else. So, I mean, I'm happy to give it a go if you guys are. So, and we'll see how it pans out. I mean, if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. We'll take it out. It's not a biggie, really.
Yeah, sorry everybody, I'm not trying to throw a spanner in the works.
Well, this is what Session Zero is about. We want to discuss these things and sort of get an idea for everyone. So
give it a shot.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, so it may indeed have the effect that you're talking about, Sadiq. It may not. I said we'll see when we get there, I guess. We'll give it a shot and see how we go. Next up, I should have mentioned this in backstories. I'm pretty sure everyone has, but yeah, but it's kind of the same principle as the healing 20 thing as well. It just allows everyone to have that feeling of a critical success, basically, I guess, in those sort of situations, or a critical fail in that respect. Although I don't think putting a critical fail on a healing spell would be kind of fun. Although I could be an arsehole and put that in, but I'm not. Anywho, just before we getting back to backstories, pretty much we've obviously got a week before session 1. I need to ensure that everyone has provided me with their entire backstories before session 1. I don't want any surprises halfway through the campaign when you come to me and go, oh, by the way, there's this part that I didn't tell you about. Because we need to make sure everyone's full disclosure on their backstories before we start, so we don't have any weird surprises. Just again, pretty sure everyone's done that already. I think everyone's pretty good with that, but I have had it happen. So we need to make sure that we have full disclosure across the board. Because otherwise I can't tell the story properly if I don't have all the information. And vice versa. What's going on in the chat here? Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd put an @1 on a healing spell. It's kind of mean. But I will think about that for another campaign. And necromancy. Before we get into the story, I know I've had a couple of people sort of go talk about this. Just to clarify about necromancy in Paradigm. Necromancy is not disallowed. It is just illegal. It has been outlawed by the sovereign leader of Paradigm. So therefore, you as new recruits and denizens of Paradigm, even if you've only been in the realm for a short time, you would know that necromancy has been outlawed, made illegal in this realm. The casting of resurrection style spells, or the necromantic resurrection spells, are illegal and punishable by death. You would also understand that reincarnation is not one of these spells. It is not a necromantic spell. It is a nature spell, transmutation, I believe. So the only way to be resurrected in Paradigm legally is through reincarnation, or by petitioning the Queen to get a special order, which does not happen often. I would say over the last 100 years, it has probably happened once, maybe twice, in the last century. and they would have to be very extenuating circumstances for Queen Ildri to allow the use of necromantic spells in that light, due mainly to the beliefs of her late husband. It was outlawed when she took power because of Het's beliefs. So obviously those of you, i.e. Mararath, as you are a paladin of the Steel Lady, you would have probably hold strong beliefs in that particular law as well, as that's one of the mainstays of the Steel Lady's faith. So, hit ruining necromance for, yeah, sorry. So that was just to clarify, because I'd heard murmurings among people talking about it, saying, "Well, I think Trash brought it up about not being able to cast necromantic spells." It's like, you can cast them, but if you get caught by the wrong people, you're in the power of shit. But also bear in mind, you're also joining the Dragon Scale Militia, who is sworn to uphold those laws. So that bear that in mind when you play your characters. You do not necessarily have to be a good character, though, as obviously people have hidden agendas and have reasons why they're joining the military. Keep those to yourselves unless you want to bring those out in RP. That's purely up to you. But for all intents and purposes, you are joining the military of the realm, which will be sworn to uphold these laws. So this will determine how you interact with the people of the realm, and how you interact with other denizens of the realm, bandits and such as well. So, any questions surrounding that before we move on? We're all clear on the necromancy thing. Cool. Features. I am only allowing 1 feat per player for this campaign. For every other increase we have at that will be a ability score improvement instead. So you do not have to take a feat right away as soon as it's available. You can save it and wait till a later date to really think about it and have a look, because I know there's a lot. But 1 feat only, please. Main reason for this is I know from experience that stacking feats can make a player super OP, and unnecessarily so. Any questions surrounding that, or thoughts on the single feat?
No, I think it's a good idea.
No opposition? Cool. Moving on. Right. Oh, note taking. Here we go. This is the thing. I don't always remember what's going on. I'm never always going to remember exactly what an NPC says all the time, because 90% of the time I wing it and pull it out of my butt. I very, very seldomly plan any conversation you have with an NPC, so the information they give you, I'm not likely to remember. So please take notes for your own purposes, because I'm probably not going to remember what I said. I mean, I'll try and take as many notes as I can as well to try and sort of stop that. But please, if there is information that is pertinent to your character or pertinent to your group at any given point, please take notes, because I'm really not going to remember shit. I'm terrible at that stuff.
I'll have to pick a good notebook then.
I guess short of that, do we want to take a short break before we get into stat rolling? Unless anyone's got any questions, any other rules that you can think of before we maybe look at doing some stats? No other insights. Your camera's really choppy tonight, Baz. That's really weird.
Yeah, I had noticed it was doing some strange things. I'm not sure why. Shitty weather here, like real. Well, I mean, it's nice and cool, but the wind's blowing hell-bentfully there.
That could be it. No
and
dramas.
I've got kids and stuff on tablets as well.
That certainly won't help either. But it's all good. We can still hear you. So, I guess we'll take a short break before we come back and do some stat rolling. So, guys, grab a drink, do what you need to do, and we'll be right back.
I'm watching the chat.
Right, we're back.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, Nutty might have to kick your ass, Trash Man. So I don't know if anyone noticed that the D20 transition, courtesy of Stream Spell, which is why it's in my description below. So if you want some cool transitions, I got a lot of free stuff there, and I got some cool paid stuff. Code Evildoer at checkout if you're checking out this stuff. They got some really cool overlays and transitions and stuff. And that D21 is awesome.
What food, Yanti? What food?
Did you guys order in? Was Yanti cooking in the background? Awesome. So I think we've got the rule stuff out of the way, and we've got anything I don't remember when we get into it, just remind me. I've made a few notes, but there's probably going to be things I'm going to forget. But I know looks like Mina's taking lots of notes, so that's cool. You can remind me when I fuck up. So, stats, guys. Before we actually roll any stats, these stats are going to be done slightly different. I have sort of talked about it a little bit with some of you. Normally what normally happens is we roll 4d6, we take the 3 highest, and we go with that. I don't like this idea. I think this idea gives people a chance to get way too high stats right off the bat at a low level, which again I don't particularly like in 5e. So I've made a slight adjustment to it. We will only be rolling 3d6 without the 4th. You'll get a chance to re-roll 1 per stat, and your main stat, however, this is where the slight difference is. Your main stat, whatever your main stat is, a spellcaster, it's your spellcasting stat. As a barbarian or whatever, it'll be probably strength. As a ranger or whatever your main stat is, you will roll the 4d6 and take the 3 highest as normal. And still re-rolling 1 per stat. There is a potential to get a 4 as a minimum stat. Do not be panicked by this, because you will have ample opportunity through roleplay and through training throughout the first portion of this campaign to increase those stats as you go. This will mean this is not going to cost you anything. Most training costs gold. As you are in a military establishment, you'll be doing a lot of training anyway. You'll be utilizing those particular skills. As an example, if you get a low stat in charisma, all it will take for you to increase that stat is just to talk to people, whether it's talking to your party, whether it's talking to NPCs. You will make persuasion checks, you'll make deception rolls, you will fail some of those rolls, guaranteed. This will still give you an opportunity to increase that stat. The more you use it, the more likely you are to increase it. Once you hit 10 in any given stat, those abilities will slow down. Obviously, we don't want to bang everyone up to level 20 pretty quickly. So it'll be simply based on, from that level onwards, based on context, and again, depending on how often you use a particular skill. Because those skills do increase as you level as well, with ability scores and leveling and all the rest of it. Like I said, at the high levels, those training things won't become as important. It's more focused at the lower levels, these first starting levels, as a way to promote extra RP and a bit of training stuff. And like I said, you're in the military, you're going to be training anyway, so it's going to be part of that. Any thoughts on that? I think I've spoken to most people about it. Most people are okay with the stat rolls, because it makes it a little bit different. Adds to a little bit of roleplay as well. So any thoughts on that before we move forward?
So pretty much you're going with a Morrowind type.
Yeah.
Elder Scroll. Yeah, the more you use it, the more it goes.
Pretty much. Just again, it's pushing. To me, it pushes more RP, and that's what I want to focus on with this campaign. I want to step away from too much combat and really focus on the story and the roleplay of the characters.
As a DM with a lot of work on your plate, are you wanting us to say, hey, I want to build this stat, I'm going to go and talk to so-and-so, or are you just going to keep an eye on it?
I'll keep an eye on it as you go. I mean, if you want to specifically do something, definitely sing out. Like, because you're going to be spending a lot of time at the keep, as an example, say we use Grimm's characters as an example. If he rolls a low dex, even with the extra dice, he still might roll a low stat. He might decide that every night before lights out, he goes and spends an hour on the training dummies. Does that for a week, he'll get a bonus to his stat. I mean, you only have to tell me the once. Like, you don't have to roll. We're not going to role play every time you train, because that will get monotonous and boring. It'll be, again, very contextual if it suits the RP time. And it's, like I said, you guys will be out on a night patrol. You might come across a pack of wolves. The wolves will attack you. You'll use your abilities. Hit or miss, that particular battle may cause you to have an ability score improvement based on that combat alone, because you're still using the skills, hit or miss. It's about using the skill. It's not about whether you succeed or fail. And that's the sole reason behind that, because to me, having the ability to start with a base stat of 18 or higher, because I mean, you can start with a 20 stat at level 1, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I'm the same. That's the point of leveling up, is to get you
exactly.
Yeah,
so
skills,
and this sort of comes. I sort of go back to even earlier editions of D&D, where you never ever started with high stats like that. Never. So I mean, to start with a 20 stat at level 1 just doesn't make sense. I mean, this way still, you could potentially roll an 18. If you roll 3 6s and get an 18 on a stat, then hey, good on you. That's, yeah, I mean, chances of leaving that stat much higher than that outside of ability scores improvements is slim to none.
With that being said, could we do the same with our skills? Like, get proficiencies in those?
You can always do that. It's always been a thing in 5e. If you want to improve on a particular skill and become proficient in it, there is always been that in 5e. It's always been a gold cost in time. It normally takes, like, some of them can take weeks in game time and like 5,000 gold or whatever to find someone who is proficient in that skill and learn it. So if you want to, the thing is, again, this will be slightly different because you're starting in a military establishment. So a lot of this sort of stuff will be available to you guys. So if you want to level a particular skill, it will take in-game time to train. This is stuff that can be done in downtime too. If we decide to do a time jump like we did in campaign 1 for any reason, that sort of thing can be done during that as well. Again, we've got the possible gold cost or whatever. It just really depends. So again, this is purely up to you. If you guys are not happy with that type of stat rolling and that kind of process, then we can discuss another way of doing it. I mean, that's just sort of what I thought about and how I thought about running it.
No, I'm happy with it. I like the idea.
Cool.
Same. I like the idea of being able to, if you're not quite where you want to be with a particular skill or proficient, like a dexterity or something along those lines, you can up it. As long as you roleplay it, which is good. And
that's, I mean, it's all about promoting that little bit extra roleplay. I mean, what is D&D if it's not roleplay? I mean, that's where it started. That's the basis in which D&D started from, which is the whole reason why I decided to go theatre of the mind instead of battle maps for this one. It's
good. I think it makes leveling feel more worth it to me, at least. Yeah. It's, you know,
it's a
goal to work for.
It's a reward. I mean, you get rewarded for doing something rather than just getting a level and boosting those stats every time you level. You're working towards it as well, and it creates some interesting roleplay too, because how you interpret what that low stat does to your character, example, intelligence, charisma, and wisdom. If you get low on those stats, how you interpret how that affects your character personality wise, or the way you deal with people, that's up to you. I mean, that's your decision to roleplay that, and how you decide to roleplay that sort of stuff makes it interesting. I mean, low intelligence could mean a range of things. It may not mean completely inept at everything. It just you might not be able to read, you might not be able to write, which could potentially lean into a role play where someone in the party helps you to learn to read and write. I mean, it's as simple as that. So I think we get trapped into this whole idea that a low intelligence means you're stupid, and that's not always the case. There are so many levels of low intelligence out there. So, no more thoughts on that, or are we all in agreement that we're going to go ahead with that stat rolling system? In which case we can start with our stat rolling. So we'll go around. We're going to start with strength, obviously. So I'm going to go around the cameras here from what I can see on my overlay. So directly underneath me is Mr. Smartridge, aka Mr. Trashman. So Trashy, can I get you to roll 3d6 for your strength, please? I think you got some ones in there, dude. Reroll 1d6 for me, because I think you got 2 ones. To get a 4, you had to have gotten 2 ones. So roll a single d6. There you go. So 10 is your strength. No, you cannot give channel points to reroll. Magic. Nice try though. I think I've switched all the channel points off for tonight, except for the audio stuff anyway. So that's your strength roll. So we'll go down Mr. Grimm, or aka Various. Can we get a strength roll from you two, sir? 3d6, please. Nice try, Magic. Nice try. 7. We got some low rolls. To start out with. Did you get a 1 in that lot, Mr. Grimm? You are muted, sir. I cannot hear you. Nope, we've lost your microphone. Oh no. There we go. I think you're back.
Yeah, I muted myself on
Right.
my headset.
Stacky, thanks for the follow.
I did get 1.
Okay, so
one.
so roll a d6, please.
Yep.
So that'll be 6 without that 1. So 7 is your strength, Mr. Grimm.
Yeah, no, it worked.
It's fate. It's fate.
It's fate. Dude. 7 is your strength, sir. That's your strength. Welcome in, Stacky. Miss Mina, aka Dilly Timbers. Shiver me timbers, Miss Dilly. Strength check 11 right off the bat. There we go. 11 strength for Dilly. Drax, aka Tolvir. Can we get a strength check 3d6 for you, please? 9 is double check. Make sure you don't get any 1s too, guys. So 9 for you. Did you get a 1?
Reroll that.
I did get a 1.
Awesome. So re-roll that 1. So your strength at the moment is 8.
Still 1.
Still 1. So 9 is yours. That's fate too. All right, Mr. Stib, aka Mararath. Can we get a 3d6 roll from you, please? For your strength. If you are unsure how to add these stats into your D&D Beyond page, let me know and I will aid you. I'm pretty sure everyone's pretty good at it by now.
Yep, 13.
Your roll did not come up on D&D on Foundry. Did you roll by a Foundry? By D&D Beyond?
D&D Beyond, yeah. Custom roll.
Okay.
I'm actually sitting at the ability screen for my character right now. Maybe that's the reason why.
Probably.
That'll be the reason.
Yeah. We'll take that roll anyway. You rolled it. Just make sure you're in your front page. I'll just double check because I'll just make sure that we have... I have your link here. Man, I added your link in, so it should be there.
Yeah, it's because he's not on the main character page.
Yeah, I think if you're in edit mode, it doesn't work.
Ah, yes, it will be. Yeah. That'll be reason why. Anyway, 13 is your strength. Cool. Don't be a dick. Having a slight Foundry hiccup here. Just give me one moment, guys. There we go. Right, so Mr. Orbasm, Mr. Clutching at Straws. This is not Baz's character's name, guys. Just so you know, he's keeping his actual character secret for the time being. So check to make sure you don't have a 1 in there, sir.
No 1s.
No
That's
1s. It's an 8. So that is your strength of an 8. Back to the top. Dexterity, please. Trashy. Just remember, if it's your main stat, it'll be 4d6. Is that your main strength, main stat?
No, it's not.
It's not? Cool.
I believe my strength would have been, but anyway.
If your strength is your main stat, add another d6 to it. So roll another d6 for me. Yeah, just bear that in mind, guys. Your main stat will be a 4d6 and take the 3 highest. No, you can't. So add another 1 to your strength.
Yeah. So Dex is 12.
Dex is 12. Okay. So just add a 1 to your strength, please. Grim, your dexterity, please.
Yep. So I'm gonna make my main stat wisdom for reasons of who this character is. So
No
my
problem.
Dex will be the
3d6.
3 as well.
No problem.
It's a 9, and there is a 1.
There's a 1. Reroll that 1. So 8 plus whatever you roll next.
A 2.
So that
So
will be
10.
11. No, 11 up.
Yeah.
10. Sorry, yeah, 10.
yeah.
You're right. 10. Yeah. I can't add. So 10 for dexterity for you, Miss Mina. Ooh, a 4. So there's definitely 2 1s in there. So roll another d6, please. Lots of 1s, dudes. I mean, all my test rolls, I never ever got that many 1s. So that will be 8 for you. You assume strength would be your main stat. What's your... yes, I think it would be Drax.
I wouldn't have a clue.
Let
I
me
wouldn't
double...
have a clue how to add it either.
I will do it for you. Just write your stats down and I will add them. Actually, I'll bring them up on stream and add yours. 1 second.
Yeah.
So before you roll anything else, Mr. Tolvier, let's bring up... Yeah, because I forgot you're not as up to play with the stat stuff as everybody else. Nope, wrong one.
Not sure if they were rolled stats before.
No, most of the times I'm using point buy. And I'm not rolling it on that. We're going to see Drax's stat page here, guys, just so, because my other computer's not playing ball. It's a bright white screen coming in. Actually, I can solve that. Right, so what was your strength? What did you roll for your strength?
I rolled a 9.
And then we rolled the extra 1.
Then I rolled an extra 1.
So it'll be 10. And we probably should actually do it in your actual stat, shouldn't we? Might actually make more sense. Give me 1 second, guys, to sort this out for Mr.
So since I'm supposed to get a 4 on it, does that mean I have to re-roll both of 2-1? Or just one of them?
Just one of them.
Sure.
So your dexterity now, so it'll be 3d6 for your dexterity, please.
Two.
No 1s in that?
No one's in
No 1s in that. So 10 so far. So we'll go back over there. Awesome. So who was next? Mr. Sadiq. Mr. Stib, goddammit. You down there in the corner. I mean, down the bottom there. Dexterity, please. There we go.
Roll a piece of junk.
Any 1s
So
in there?
I'm rolling a d6 for that. Great. So 6, 12, 8. 8 for Dex.
8 for Dex. What is Maris' main stat?
It's
Strength?
going to be charisma.
Charisma? Okay, cool. Right, Mr. Baz, dexterity.
And this is my main stat.
So 46, 3 highest, please.
46 incoming. That will give me 12.
So 12 for dexterity. And back to the top. And what's next? Con is the next stat.
Wow. 16 for con.
16 for con, nice. Put that in. That's going to give you an HP boost. So why is it asking for that? 1 second. Configure settings. Mapping. Oh, that's why. Now I know why it's not working properly. I've got to add your characters into the mapping. I'll do that later. That's what's coming up with that error. Anywho, so who's next? Grim. Constitution roll, please.
Oh, come on. Please. Oh, that's disgusting.
There's got to be a 1 in there.
There is 1 and 2.
1 and 2 twos.
Oh
Roll another d6, please, sir.
Oh,
It's not bad. It's not
8.
bad. 8. Still low, but
I'm gonna die so far.
we're gonna come up with a interesting way to boost your constitution. I got a couple ideas. Mina, constitution roll, please. Nice, 11. Mr. Drax, con roll from you. Again, 3d6. 16. Nice roll. Next up is Mr. Stib. Definitely a 1 in that lot. 6, so that'll be 10 total. And Baz. 12.
12.
Nice. Back to the top. Next stat will be intelligence.
9.
9 intelligence. No problem. Done. Mr. Grimm.
Give me something, please. 12.
12.
Hey, that
Nice.
works.
That's not bad. Mina. 11. Drax. Intelligence roll. 14. Not bad. And Mr. Stib. 12. Baz. 13. Getting some good rolls here now. Back to the top. Wisdom. Is there a 1 in there, or is that 3 2s?
No, there's 2 1s.
2 1s. Re-roll one of those 1s. So it's 5 so far. Not bad. 8. Couple of low stats for Mr. Uth, which kind of leans into your character a little bit, which I'm kind of pleased about.
Yeah.
Grim. Batchy, what's up?
Ooh, I got 2 1s there.
Re-roll a 1, sir. So we got 9 so far. And 10 it is. Mina. Don't forget your main stat, guys. Whatever your main stat, you get 46. 11 for Mina. Drax, your intelligence. Wisdom, sorry. 14. Jeez, Drax getting some good rolls. Mr. Stib, intelligence. Is there a 1 in there? Nope. So 8 is your intelligence. Baz.
There's 1, so I'll re-roll that.
Okay. Just 13 for Baz. So just get another roll from a 6 there. 6. That's up. So it'll be blah, 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 blah. Whatever that is. 13. So next up we have Charisma, last stat. 10. Mr. Grimm. 13, not bad.
Charismatic bastard.
Mina. This
is my main
This
stat.
is Dilly's main stat. 46, take the 3 highest.
So that will be a 14.
It's not too
'cause
bad.
I got 6, 4, and 4. I
6,
do have a 1 in there, but that's...
You can re-roll that. It's the.
Do I have to take it?
You don't have to take it. If it's still a 1,
I
you
could
can
get higher.
You could get higher. So anything higher than a 1 will put you up there. So
No, I'm still a 14.
okay, so 14 it is.
Yeah.
Durax. Is there a 1 in there, sir, or is that it? Oh, there is a 1 in there. Look at that. So it'll be 13 for you. That's not too bad, sir. So I'll just go back to your sheet before we go any further forward, just to make sure that's all
So
taken.
is this where we send Drax in ahead of the party? I like that idea.
He's got some pretty good
Probably
stats.
Anyway,
I do need to adjust this one though, because that's an override score.
we've got intelligence and wisdom and no strength. Awesome barbarian.
Why has that done that? Total score. What did you roll for your strength? 10, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. We might have to adjust that on the fly. Everything else looks like it's taken. Cool, we'll leave that up there for now. Mr. Stib, your final stat, please. There's definitely a 1 in that lot. So 4. So what would that give you total? You what,
I'm
12,
working that out
11?
right now. I got to wait for the.
I think it's
log to
11.
catch up. Stupid log.
Yeah, I think it's 11, looking at that. And a 10 for Mr. Baz. So that... our mystery... I know... don't answer in chat, mystery player. I know you're in there somewhere. Could you please confirm that you've rolled all your stats as well? Just send me a DM in Discord before we move forward. Because next up we're going to roll HP. That's if my Discord decides to start. My stream PC is having an absolute nightmare. Yeah, it's just not wanting to work. I'll assume you have because my Discord is not working. I'd say my streaming PC is just having a slight meltdown at the moment. But I will assume you have rolled your stats. I will confirm with you a bit later. Next up is our... they could, yeah, if you could DM me in Gilded, that's working, I think. I haven't checked it. I've got it all shut down. We can sort it out later. No drama. Next up is HP. So you will need to figure out what your hit dice is based on your class, and you're all level 3, so you'll be rolling 3 hit die for your stats for your health. So Trash, well, do you remember what your hit die is as a fighter? I think it's a D10 from memory.
Correct.
So 3D10. 22. So Pop, do you know where to put that in on your sheet? So again, if you go to your manage your character and under manage HP, it should be.
It's under class, yeah.
It's under class manage HP is where that should be. And then you put it under rolled HP and then apply. So I'll take note of that anyway. If you're having trouble, Trash, I can't hear you, you're muted, but if you're having trouble, I will sort it out.
I've only got modify HP, override HP. Fixed HP is 22 though.
Oh, so you went under fixed. Okay, I can sort that out later. So just put it in
you've
there.
selected something.
Yeah, I'll have a look at it after the show. But I think you probably selected fixed HP in your settings instead of manual. But that's right. I'll sort it. Yep. So 22 is yours. I'll remember that. Grim.
That's what the fixed HP is anyway.
Yep. That'll change. It'll go up because of your constitution, maybe. Although your con was quite low.
31. No, my con was high.
13.
13. So 13 based on your hit die. That's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. So add that into your rolled HP on your sheet. Miss Mina, your hit dice, please. I can't remember what everyone's hit dice is.
So I just checked it. It's a 1d6 for me.
Okay, so
Out
it's
of
3d6.
curiosity. Yep.
No
Do I have-
re-rolling ones.
No, I was wondering, do I have to -3 for my modifier?
Why's that? It'll do it because your con's low. It'll automatically do it when you put it in.
Oh, Constitution or Dexterity are we doing?
No, this is just for your hit dice. So you just roll.
Oh, it's a Constitution.
So you roll 3d6 for your hit dice, and then you add it into your rolled HP. It will automatically add your con modifier. 11. That's not good for Mina. She's starting off with low HP. I can see Dilly hanging in the back a lot for the start of the campaign. And Mr. Drax, so I believe your hit die D10s as well, or D12s? D12s for a barbarian. 13. It's a low roll as well. So your max HP will start at 22. So, Mr. Stib, is the paladins the same as the barbarians?
No, they're D10.
So you got 2d12 and d10. Look at that. 25.
Yeah.
What a roll. Look at that. That's a good start for a paladin barbarian. That's almost max roll. Shoosh. So that's looking like we're all good there, Drax. Your sheet's pretty well set, dude. And clutching at straws with a 12. So make sure you add that to your actual character sheet. And mystery player in the background, make sure you roll your hit dice as well, please, and add all that in. I will double check everyone's sheets a bit later just to make sure everything's done, but I will confirm when I actually can load Discord that our mystery player has done all this stuff. So.
My dice from fixed to rolled. So
okay, cool.
It's now set correctly.
Awesome. Cheers, dude. Appreciate that. So, that is our stats rolled, ladies and gentlemen, for our characters. Even though you guys can sort of see the overlay, you can see some of the characters here in the corner. We're not going to go into full descriptions of the characters until next week. Obviously, as the characters are introduced into the game, we'll get them to describe themselves. We'll get to they will, as part of the roleplay, in fact, be able to introduce themselves. But we'll get into describe as you will get the general of the keep will come and talk to you all at the start of the session, and he will ask for your names. When you give your names, give your brief description of your character as well. While you're doing that, I will there will be a slideshow in the overlay with your stats and a character portrait with your character name and who's playing it. But I will also potentially pop up a visual on screen for everyone to see what your character looks like in Hero Forge, because we have all that available. So I will show those to the viewers as well, and all the other players will get to see that also. So just bear that in mind. But we'll still get you to introduce your characters and describe them anyway, as a just as a bit of. There might be specifics that are not on Hero Forge that you might like to describe that can be seen by other players. Like specific tattoos, markings, things like that. Short of that, we're pretty much done for Session 0, guys, unless the players have any more questions they'd like to ask before we end tonight's session, or chat if you've got any questions you would like to ask before we move forward. We're pretty much done, really. Can I re-roll my HP? No, Drax, you cannot. Nice try. Man, that's a question, but no, sorry. We will definitely get, as I say, you guys will get a chance to improve some of those stats as we go through the first portion of this story. There will be training to be had. There will be punishments dealt out if you do shit wrong, as per the military. I do have a punishment roll table. There will be all manner of things. Like I said, my focus on this particular campaign to start with is the players themselves. Although campaign 1 was not a bad campaign, the story was a good story and we all enjoyed it. I possibly could have spent more time on the characters before we hit the main story hook, and I think it would have been a little better, but it wasn't bad. You're a barbarian with no strength and HP, high intelligence and wisdom. These things do happen, but as I said, you will get a chance to increase those stats through what you do in the keep. Luckily for you, because of your backstory, you do have some small perks that others will not have initially. So that will definitely lean into that particular thing. It is definitely going to be interesting. So with that, again, as I said, if there's nothing else anyone wants to discuss, obviously we are set in the realm of Paradigm. This, again, to remind everyone, this is set 100 years after the events of campaign 1. So all but Ildry the White, or Ildry the Silver White dragon remains from the lines of Voland, the sovereign ruler of Paradigm. She and her children reside in the capital city, in the palace, if you will, in Voland. There has been some changes made to the city over the last 100 years. There is no more Adventurers Guild. It has gone by the wayside. But the establishment of the Dragonscale Militia was started 100 years ago and thus has flourished into rather a large military establishment, which the main keep of which is situated outside of the capital. There are smaller barracks across the realms. The law, which was multiple laws and multiple rulers across the realm, is now under one ruler and one set of laws. So the laws are now realm-wide. So, what's up, Daunts? Cheers for dropping in. So like I said, depending on what you guys do in the first few sessions, like the very first session, you're probably not going to be put into harm's way, as in battle combat stuff. Anyway, you're a raw recruit starting in a new military establishment, so they're going to have to break you down and build you back up as soldiers to a particular degree. So a lot of those low stats that you've rolled tonight, some of those will increase in the first few sessions, because that's all you're going to really be doing is training. So you will make mistakes. You'll have failures. You will be punished. Ildry definitely will be meeting you guys at some point throughout the story. I don't think she often visits the military camp, but as I said, there will be reason for her to meet you at some point. Definitely. She might just get curious about wanting to see how the new recruits are going that she may have heard something about, depending on how good or bad you are when you're training. You might even buy a white dragon mask. Nice. Can Ildry make it so I don't die in a stiff breeze? Anything, or she could probably make you die in a stiff breeze, I may guess. You never know. But that is it for us tonight, guys. A little bit of a short one, which is not too bad. We did pretty well there. an hour and a half, give or take, of session 0. Everyone is in agreement on our set rules and the way we're going to move forward. Again, any of those rules can change throughout the campaign if they don't work, so bear that in mind. But looking forward to starting this show next week and starting this new story, introducing some new characters, some new players to hopefully a long-term campaign. Oh, that was the other thing I almost forgot. Re-rolling of characters if you die. I'm gonna run the same thing I did in campaign 1. In the early stages of the campaign, yes, re-rolls will be allowed. Depending on how far we get through said story and whereabouts it is in the story, if it does not make sense to bring a new character in, there will not be a reroll. I will endeavour to let you guys know as we play when that cutoff point will be. I cannot say at this point because we're not there yet, obviously. But if we get to a very poignant part in the story where a rerolled character just doesn't make sense, then there won't be a reroll, just so you're aware, so no one's caught by surprise. But in the early stages of the campaign, obviously, if someone does kick the bucket, which can happen in any D&D game, rerolls are definitely a thing that we can do, purely because you are in a military establishment, and having a new soldier join your squad isn't such a far-fetched thing. So we can definitely look at that. So, with that, we're going to say good night. Thank you guys for coming in for the session 0 and for your input and for your discussion and for re-rolling and for rolling your stats and HP, even though some of them are quite low. This will make for interesting roleplay and interesting gameplay, I dare say. Thanks, chat, for coming to hang out with us in session 0 as well. We look forward to bringing this story to you starting next week. So 13th of February, next Sunday, 8 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time, we'll be starting Paradigm 2 Shadow's Embrace. And you will meet our recruits, and we will reintroduce you to the world of Paradigm. So until then, have a good night, guys. I would raid, but I think my stream PC is going to pack a sad. So I'm probably just going to host someone as soon as we go off the air, because it is being an absolute bitch. Actually, I can turn this off. Let's see if I can do it this way. I can do it on this PC. We'll do it on this one. Nope. Echo. Who is online? Legendary Actions doing Dungeons and Dragons. How long have they been going for? They've been going for 4 hours. Holy crap. Stormy Dragons doing D&D as well. They've got 6 viewers. How long have they been going for? Oh, they're just about to start. Well, 30 minutes. We'll raid them. So Stormy Dragon Tavern, we're going to raid, guys. Thanks again for hanging out with us. Appreciate it very much. I will be back tomorrow night with some map making. So come and hang out. I'll do some mini adventure map making tomorrow night. And then Tuesday night, I'm not sure entirely sure what I'm going to do Tuesday, but Wednesday back for some Curse of Strahd as well. But we will see you later.